Vincent Falcone is a Green Beret who joined the G.I. Joe team in 1987 with the codename Falcon. He's very cool and wildly popular, so let's talk about everyone's favorite fictional LT, Lieutenant Falcon. But before we do, let me say thank you for watching the channel, whether it's your first time here or you're back for more. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and share the video so you and your friends don't miss the content I upload just like this every few days. Jump into the story. Vincent Falcone was born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina, although his Action Force self hails from Glastonbury, England. Vincent comes from a military family. His father was a Green Beret who'd been with SFGA since the World War II OSS operative named Colonel Aaron Bank founded the Green Berets at Smoke Bomb Hill at Fort Bragg in the 1950s. Pulling from Action Force, Vincent Sr. was on an exchange tour with the SAS in Britain when he met and married his wife, where they'd go on to have a child together. Whether he was born in Glastonbury or Fayetteville was a discrepancy, however, she did follow him to America where they settled in North Carolina to raise Vincent Jr. Vincent spent his boyhood, his Slaughter's Marauders file card says, emulating his father and preparing to be the toughest of the tough. Because of familial pressure and competition, Vincent has always been driven by the need to prove himself. It has at times made him reckless and reactionary and hot-headed. He wants to be the best and prove it not only to his family but to himself. Vincent himself would go on to join the United States Army, following in his father's footsteps. He trained at Fort Bragg in his home state in infantry, demolitions, languages, and as a combat medic. Scaling mountains, parachuting from planes, and rappelling down cliffs and crawling through the jungle is a walk in the park for him. Snake eating and jumping out of planes is in his blood, as they say. Because of his training, Falcon can field strip, clean, and reassemble most common military pistols, SMGs, and rifles in the dark, and not wind up with any leftover parts, which is not what I can say when I try to put IKEA furniture together in broad daylight. Out of training, Falcon became a member of the 10th Special Forces Group Airborne, and served with FSGA's counterterrorism subunit known as Blue Light, which was operational until Colonel Beckwith activated Delta Force. As XO of Light Blue's Team A, Action Force says, he was sent to Latin America where they were assigned to stop cross-border operations in the jungle by anti-government guerrillas. And to do this, Falcon befriended the locals, gave them medical care, helped them build and farm, and he was able to get them to stop providing aid to the guerrillas, all without firing a shot. And it wasn't long after this that a CID operative pulled him for a covert mission. His animated action figure and comic book adventures all start in 1987. He got the cover of G.I. Joe magazine in spring of 87, where he's fighting Big Bo on Raptor. And then a couple months later, he first appears in Larry Hama's A Real American Comic Book series in the summer of 87 with issue 60. An issue drawn by none other than Todd McFarlane. The issue starts off with Falcon in a Jeep and Law and Order in the pickup area of an airport surveilling Hawk. They literally kidnapped Hawk and brought him to a failed beach resort town called Miami North on the Jersey Shore. They took him to a massive hotel high-rise and actually met up with Chuckles and Fast Draw. It turns out that they were all pulled from their assignments to guard a massive missile launch system hidden in the core of the hotel. And as cover, they were told it was ultra top secret and that they were members of the G.I. Joe team, but that was a lie. Chuckles was investigating the extremist faction at the Pentagon responsible for this operation, who'd stolen the rocket by writing it off of the books from an old IG inspection years prior. Right as Chuckles was showing Hawk around, Zartan, Zarana, and the Dreadnoks showed up to destroy the missile. The Pentagon creeps knew they'd been compromised, so they activated the launch sequence as a battle erupted on the beach just on the other side of the road from the hotel. They beat the crap out of Chuckles, so Falcon helped him off the ground, saying the Rockwell hardness of his head must exceed that of a muffler. But they managed to rescue Chuckles, pick him out of the sand, and so Hawk said, "As far as I'm concerned, all of you are now G.I. Joe team for real." Falcon's FSS Night Force file card adds that all of the details of Lieutenant Falcon's military background make him a qualified leader on paper, but it's his dedication to his team and willingness to put his own life on the line for them that earned him his fellow soldiers' respect and made him a natural choice for the G.I. Joe team. It wouldn't be until issue 64 when Falcon gets to the pit for the first time. Later, in pursuit of the Defiance black box that the Star Viper stole from the pit, the G.I. Joe team track it back to Cobra Island. And in issue 73, which also marks his first cover appearance in this series, Falcon as mission commander along with Tunnel Rat, Sneak Peek, and Gung Ho snuck onto Cobra Island with the Cobra Mamba that was stolen in G.I. Joe Yearbook 4. This just as tensions between Cobra Commander and Serpentor boiled over and Civil War broke out. The Mamba dropped the team in the woodland area on the perimeter of the airfield. From that vantage point, they watched Cobra Commander and the Baroness attack Serpentor in the landlocked freighter on the island. The opening shots of Civil War had rung out. But very soon, Hawk radioed in that their op board changed. Now they had open sanction and were to deploy within striking distance of the airfield and actually ordered to take the tower. How were they going to get across 100 yards of open ground in broad daylight without being seen? Well, Captain Min showed up and showed the tunnels that led to the trap door to the ATC tower. They took it, but then were trapped from all sides as Cobra Commander, Serpentor, and Destro all raced from different points. Trapped, they watched the battle rage all around them on the ground, the tarmac, and in the skies above. But both sides pulled back, which allowed Destro to swoop in from the beach and take the airfield for himself and his Iron Grenadiers. And this is when the recon team decided it's too hot, we gotta leave. So they headed back down through the hatch and into the storm drains. Right when a thunderstorm broke out and started to flood the tunnels, so Captain Min showed them the way through the rat-infested sluice tunnels to another spot where they broke through to the surface between two hangars, but by this time, everyone had left and it seemed like the conflict was over, so they walked to the beach and made it there with just enough time to see Lady J and Zarana start fighting. Falcon was on presidential security detail at Flushing Stadium, New York, in G.I. Joe's Special Mission 24, but he and Hawk were hypnotized by Crystal Ball. CoverGirl, of course, conveniently had hypnotherapy training, so she was able to use that to snap them out of it. In G.I. Joe's Special Mission 26, Falcon, Shockwave, and Recondo were in Sierra Gordo to rescue El Jefe, but the October Guard got to him first, and all they could do was watch as nearly the entire OG team was killed in action during the great train chase that followed. Only Dinah and Dragonsky were alive, and so they, along with the Joes, were captured and held in a partially submerged pen in ARAH issue 92. They were freed by a G.I. Joe team, which involved a thunderclap, a parade, and a beauty pageant for Dinah. Issue 103 is very important to his story because it establishes the chain of command for the team, sort of like what Sumbo did with the first part of Season 2. So in the letters page, he reconfirms that Hawk is still the commander, with Duke his top. Hama says that Flynn is the XO and Lieutenant Falcon is S2. He says S3 and S4, which are for ops and logistics rotation, depend on the mission at hand. With that in mind, we head to issue 108, where we find Falcon shotgun booming on the splash page, leading a team in the deserts of Trucia Labismia. They're tasked with destroying Terradrome emplacements in that area. The team is surrounded and captured in a Cobra ambush, and in the next issue, a Saw Viper mowed down Thunder, Doc, Crankcase, and Heavy Metal. The Saw Viper then chased Crazy Legs, Breaker, Quick Kick, whom he also murdered. Falcon's entire team was KIA except himself and Cross Country. No shoots this time. It was a horrifying and tragic moment for the team, for the Joes, and for the fans who are reading that for the first time. It brought a raw realness to the story. Falcon was on the cover of issue 155, which was the final issue of the series at the time, as they had been decommissioned and the pit closed down. He's there for the flag folding ceremony. And after leaving the team, Falcon found work as a military consultant in Hollywood. He joined back up with the Joe team for the Cobra Island invasion. Back to Hamaverse, he made a brief cameo in issue 181, talking with Lifeline on the vehicle level at the pit as they reviewed a freight truck manifest, firmly solidifying he's once again back with the teams. In issue 185, Hawk gave Falcon, Spirit, Zap, and Leatherneck a critical mission: rescue and extract Airtight, Tunnel Rat, and Dusty. They'd been captured in Benzine on their own recon mission during the whole Krytron affair. A pilot whose name everyone forgets would fly them in-country, nap of the Earth in a newly modified X-19 Bravo stealth fighter, and land on the prefab runway that Ripcord had already set up. Hawk panicked when he realized the evac radius around the prison they were near was a nuclear blast radius. Scarlet gave a radio advisory burst to Falcon's fire team, so Falcon took out his gun and shot the SATCOM antenna. Commo failure, he said. They weren't leaving their brothers inside. Nope. He shot the radio dead before they got the cancellation orders, so they immediately made their forward assault. No leapfrogging, no bounding Overwatch, just full online formation charge, 1700 style. And then an MG nest in a tower hit Falcon, and he was shot in the face, and he actually gave himself his own care under fire with a hemostatic dressing, some pressure, and an X-Stat injection. Falcon then hit Colonel Faroud in the face with the butt of his shotgun. Don't shoot, he said. Okay, eat some buttstock. A couple of flux cuffs later and they advanced, clearing the entire compound, taking everyone prisoner. And as Dusty and Airtight made it topside, Falcon relinquished command to Spirit. Falcon was losing too much blood and clarity to be combat effective. But that's when Wild Bill and Lifeline swooped in with a tomahawk to pick up the team, treat the wounded, and receive Pale Peony from Road Pig. During the Robert Graves rescue mission in Sierra Gordo, Cobra used the opportunity to assault and take over the pit. Hawk put Falcon and Psych Out in command, so They remained on base along with Mainframe in the command center, and this is when he really starts leaning into his S2 staff number as he and his team receive intel on the Bat Revanche upgrades and the Cobra terradromes in the vicinity of the Robert Graves event in SG, and started tracing it all back to Cobra. His face was cleaned up from his wound, but it was probably too much to put him back in the field again. As soon as he found out about the Cobra connection, he sent out the relief team. This put them at a gross disadvantage, vastly outnumbered, when Cobra used the opportunity to overrun the pit. In issue 198, Falcon, Psych-Out, and Mainframe link up with Scarlet and Snake Eyes. They then take on Cobra in some real guerrilla warfare Nakatomi Plaza tactics. They use the secret base below the secret base to coordinate and strike, and Cobra abandoned the pit. And now he mainly runs intel and runs operational command for field teams from the pit, where he continues to be off panel even as we head towards issue 271. Falcon was featured in a 2008 G.I. Joe convention comic book published by Fun Publications. It was called G.I. Joe vs. Cobra, Direct to Cobra. He and Outback were being chased by Cobra through waist-deep swamp water on the cover for a story entitled Ambush in the Savage Swamp. In the Action Force continuity, Falcon was featured in a few stories. In War Beneath the Waves, he was off the northwest coast of Africa with Wetsuit, Lifeline, and Quick Kick, investigating a whale and some missing teammates when they ran into a squadron of Cobra eels and a nasty Hydro Viper. Turns out there was a Cobra base on the seafloor, and Falcon jumped in, and now he has on a red wetsuit with his own name printed on the side of it in case you didn't know who he was. The Hydro Viper was about to kill Falcon when he was distracted, and Falcon was able to smash him with a rock. He was also a knight in armor on a Persuader advancing on an oil terminal that Cobra had taken over and was set on blowing up. Falcon's mechanized ground assault was ultimately a distraction so the Tunnel Rats team could complete their mission by way of the dry pipelines. Falcon vs. Nemesis Immortal showdown at the top of the world was the name of comic number 8, which came carded with Falcon's 2008 figure. Lieutenant Falcon first appeared in G.I. Joe the Movie as one of the new recruits called the Rawhides. In this continuity, Falcon is the younger half-brother of Duke, although in an earlier draft for the film, he was intended to be the brother of Hawk, which is why he also got a Bird of Prey codename. When the plan was still to have Duke die in the animated movie, the plan was to have Falcon become his replacement. But after the trauma that the death of Optimus Prime caused with the Transformers movie, this plan was changed. In the story, he was putting the moves on Jinx, another Rawhide, which is one of the reasons Serpentor got out. Don Johnson, who voices Falcon in the movie, was actually interviewed by the LA Times in '86, prior to the film's release. He says that Falcon, quote, must prove to his brother and the world that he can be a good guy, unquote. And according to a rep from Sunbow, that, quote, Falcon joins the unit to prove himself. It's the perfect Don Johnson character, unquote. He's irresponsible and reactionary, but was whipped into shape by his DI, Sergeant Slaughter. And then Duke fake dies, makes Falcon promise he'll get his act together and be an asset to the team. So then he appeared in a couple episodes of the Deke series, such as the 2-part Long Live Rock and Roll in '91, where he's at the Billy Blast concert. Cobra was stealing sound engineers to build a sonic weapon. In another 2-parter called The Greatest Evil, Falcon was taking a drug called Spark, his version of Go Pills, I guess, supplied by the Headman. He wanted to be faster, braver, and to have Duke be proud of him. But when Duke found out, he kicked Falcon out of the Joes, and so Falcon went to a hospital for treatment. Then Duke and his CG, whose sister Cindy was also on Spark, teamed up to take Headman down. The Headhunters used Falcon and Cindy as hostages. There's this crazy scene with Falcon chasing Headman, and Headman actually got his own drugs on himself, and his skin started to melt. Anyway, the Kingpin was down, the factory destroyed, and Falcon went back to treatment. And he's in the series' penultimate episode called Basic Training, as well as the series' finale, Legend of Metalhead, where he makes a couple brief sort of flashback cameos. Scott Menville, who does a lot of voice work as the Teen Titans Robin, voiced Vincent in an episode of G.I. Joe Renegades called Homecoming. In the show's continuity, he's actually Vincent Hauser, the full brother, not the half-brother of Duke. Duke had gone back home to Missouri to protect his family from Cobra, met his brother and his parents. To align with his animated and comic book debuts, Falcon's first action figure hit toy shelves as well in '87. That year, with his big push, he was featured on the box art for the Laser Battle Set, as well as the Coastal Defender vehicle, and even the radio-controlled Crossfire, although his figure was not included with any of those. The same was true for '87's Battle Force 2000 Skysweeper, although he wasn't even part of that sub-team. He was also on a poster that year, very patriotically holding the American flag. The next year, Falcon became Lieutenant Falcon and joined Night Force in a Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack. That was the year he was also on a Milton Bradley mural puzzle entitled Falcon Targets Cobra Command, featuring a headshot of him with the Defiant in the background being chased by a pair of Cobra stilettos. In 1991, Lieutenant Falcon joined Supersonic Fighters, and here he traded in his trusty shotgun for a 5.56mm XAR-2 automatic assault rifle and a Scatterblast laser rifle. The G.I. Joe convention in 92 had its own release. Well, it was a re-release of the V1 figure, but he came with different weapons. In 2003, he was part of the Operation Anaconda convention exclusive box set. 2008 is when he was with the comic number 8 comic book that I mentioned earlier, as well as Nemesis Enforcer, the winged Nemesis Immortal. Then in 2009, Falcon was one of 6 figures released from the G.I. Joe Collectors Club. His 2011 figure made him a part of the Slaughter's Marauders battle set for the 30th anniversary line. Falcon was also a part of the 50th anniversary line in 2016 in a 3-pack with Shooter and Outback. And as we head back to his FSS file card, it says, over the years, Falcon has honed his skills from brash, impetuous fighter to cool, calculated tactician. He leads his troops with the same enthusiasm as always, but he knows his years of knowledge are too valuable to waste on the battlefield, though he will not hesitate to head to the front lines if his team needs his personal support. And so for now, that's a wrap on this story, my friends. The story of G.I. Joe's Lieutenant Falcon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you'll be one of the first to know when I upload videos just like this each and every week. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, and I'll see you soon.